Hey everyone, Ed from Paranormal Link, Ohio here. We're back at it again with another podcast episode, another true crime podcast episode. Tonight's true crime podcast episode is about a horrible piece of crap, like the rest of them that I do. This is in Ohio, so I figured I'd do an Ohio one. I know I did an Ohio one before, but I heard about this and I heard the 911 call, and it is insane. And at the end of this, I will play the 911 call that eventually got this man captured. So if you hang out to the end, you'll hear the entire 911 call that happened, and it is just insane. So, Shawn Michael Grate is the American serial killer we'll be talking about tonight. Shawn Grate. He was born August 8th, 1976, and he is an American serial killer and rapist who was sentenced to death for the murders of 5 young women in and around northern Ohio from Grate was convicted on May 7th, 2018 in Ashland County to 2 additional murders on March 1st, 2019 in Richland County, and pleaded guilty to an additional murder on September 11th, 2019 in Marion County. Grate was sentenced to death and is scheduled to be executed in 2025. That's getting close. However, this date is premature as appeals are still ongoing. So now that I gave you kind of like a taste of what he did and what had happened to him, we're going to talk about Shawn's early life that led up to this. In Marion, Ohio on August 8th, 1976, to Terry Grate and Teresa McFarland. He was said to have lived a normal early life, playing softball and football in the yard, socializing with neighborhood children. In school, Grate was said to have had many problems and was held back for kindergarten and the first grade. Despite these problems, he was said to be very charming and amicable, with a former female friend of his stating that all the girls liked Shawn. 2 days before Shawn's 6th birthday, his parents divorced on August 6, 1982, when Grate was 11 years old. His mother abandoned the family in Ohio to live with a man in Kentucky. Grate was upset with this affair and did not like Teresa's boyfriends. Continuing to live with his father for the living with his dad, he attended River Valley High School, where he excelled as a baseball player but never played again after breaking his arm, which required surgery following the discovery of a tumor. Harboring murderous fantasies towards his mother from a young age, his half-sister would state that it was a battle in the household, and that was apparent at a young age between the two of them. According to a high school girlfriend, Grate would lie on the couch for days at a time before returning to normal. A court psychiatrist described Grate as kind of a depressed kid, despite his reputation as a happy youth, stating that his condition hailed from neglect and emotional detachment faced in childhood. The custody of Shawn and his brother was transferred to their father, Terry, on June 28, 1994. He was arrested for grabbing his girlfriend's throat on November 24, 1994. After graduating from River Valley High School in 1995, he broke into a house in Marion County with a juvenile accomplice on October 23, 1996, to steal jewelry and money. Grate was given a felony burglary charge in January of 1997 and sentenced to 4 years in prison before being released early in 1997 in October. A grand jury indicted Grate on 2 counts of aggravated murder in the deaths of 2 women, Stacy Stanley and Elizabeth Griffith, and the kidnapping and multiple sexual assaults of an unidentified woman whose 911 call to Ashland police led to Grate's arrest on September 13, 2016. In court documents, her name has been redacted. We don't know her name. She is being referred to as Jane Doe. Grate was indicted on 23 counts, all first, second, or third degree felonies. Lesser charges included breaking and entering, burglary, and tampering with evidence. Grate was represented in court by court-appointed attorney Rolf Whitney, who entered a plea of not guilty on all charges on his behalf. In a press interview, Grate confessed to 5 murders. Grate's attorneys later filed a plea of not guilty by reason of insanity. Isn't that what they always do? Like, you ever notice that? These killers come out, they do all this killing, everything's cool, fine, they know what they're doing, and all of a sudden they're crazy and they're insane. Some of them are, don't get me wrong. His trial date was set for November 6, 2017, and was later delayed to April 9, 2018. Ashland County Prosecutor Christopher R. Tunnell said that given the depraved actions and the gruesome evidence, he would seek the death penalty. Shawn Grate has also been charged in the deaths of his former girlfriends Candace Cunningham and Rebecca Lisi in neighboring Richland County, and has also been charged in the death of Dana Nicole Lowry, 23, who died in 2006 and was found in 2007 in Marion County. In the second of 2 letters he sent to Cleveland news station WEWS News 5 Cleveland, reporter Megan Hickey, Grate attributed his motives to government assistance, writing that it took his victims' minds. They were already dead, just their bodies were flopping wherever it can flop, but their minds were already dead. The state took their minds once they started receiving their monthly checks. Grate claimed he once received a $197 food card and that he never was able to receive any encouragement through many bodies received $700. After Grate gave details of the 2 murders, news organizations, while in custody, attorneys for the defense and prosecution jointly requested and obtained a gag order, preventing Grate from communicating any further with. On January 6, 2017, a competency hearing determined Grate fit to stand trial. An evolution released March 6 based on a January 17th assessment to evaluate Grate's claim, declared that he was not insane at the time the crimes were committed. Grate's counsel then withdrew the plea of not guilty by reason of insanity on April 7, 2017. In a settlement with the owner, the city of Ashland obtained ownership of the house where Grate was apprehended. 2 bodies were discovered, and police rescued a kidnapped woman. The city pursued a federal grant intending to demolish the house. According to Andrew Bush, assistant law director for the city of Ashland, there is a settlement agreement among the parties that essentially obligates the pump house to transfer all property that is the subject of this action to the city of Ashland and transfer their title thereto, provided that the city pays off the sums owed to the county for delinquent taxes and to the Musking Watershed District. Words, guys, come and listen to me to hear me mess up words. So the city was fighting over if the house was going to be demolished or if the taxes were going to be paid. Of course, they worried about taxes. They weren't worried about the families or anything like that. Just, that's just how it goes. I can't stand that. I mean, these people had families. These women had families. Then this man murdered these people, and all they care about is if the taxes are paid. Grate's trial for the Ashland crimes began with 2 weeks of jury selection on April 9, 2018. The trial began with opening statements on April 23rd. On May 2nd, Grate, who showed no remorse, pled guilty to 15 of the charges against him. On May 7th, Grate was found guilty of murdering Stacey Stanley and Elizabeth Griffith. On June 1st, Grate was sentenced to death. An initial execution date was set upon conviction for September 13, 2018. The execution was stayed due to the pending appeal to the Ohio Supreme Court. The defense counsel in the trial was Robert Whitney and Rolf Whitney. The prosecution team was Ashland prosecutor Chris Tunnell, Medina County Assistant Prosecutor Michael McNamara, and Special Prosecutor Mark Weaver. On March 1st, 2019, Grate pled guilty to the murders of Rebecca Lisi and Candace Cunningham and was sentenced to life in prison without parole for the murder of Lisi and 17 years to life for the other charges, with the sentences running consecutively. On September 11, 2019, Grate pled guilty to the murder of Dana Lowry and was sentenced to life in prison without parole, plus 16 years. On December 10, 2020, It was reported that Grate lost his appeal against the death sentence, with the Ohio Supreme Court upholding the sentence by stating there is no mitigation or reversible error in Grate's case, on the grounds of dismissing the appeal. Grate is scheduled to be executed on March 19th, 2025. Good, he deserves it. It needs to be sooner than that. That date is when he is to be transferred to Lucasville. The method of execution is to be determined. Ohio no longer uses lethal injection as 2020, but state law does not currently permit any other method. And we're going to talk about some of the victims. While Grate slept, the victim identified by the indictment only as Jane Doe called 911 from the Ashland house, where Grate had bound her to a bed and held her for 3 days, during which time he sexually assaulted her. She was safely rescued by the Ashland police because she was the victim of a sexual assault. Police declined to reveal her identity. Grate claims he did not plan to kill her and that they were going to get married. Having seen Shawn as something of an older brother, the 38-year-old Doe had first met Grate in the summer of 2016 at the Ashland Salvation Army. Ray and Joan Corpse Community Center. There they would share lunch and go to long walks, frequently discussing the Bible and occasionally playing tennis at Brookside Park in Ashland. Despite Grate's attempts to sexually engage with her, her relationship with him was described as completely platonic, refusing to exchange phone numbers. On September 11, 2016, Grate persuaded Doe to walk with him to the Ashland house on 363 Covert Court to receive some clothes he had in his possession. As Doe read the Bible in Grate's room, his friendly demeanor changed, and as he returned from the house's kitchen, Grate pulled the Bible out from her hand, telling her that she was not going anywhere. Doe resisted Grate, to which he beat and strangled her. Grate then proceeded to bind her in various weird positions, including one that would allegedly strangle her to death. As she attempted to break free during the 3-day assault, she had sustained head bruises and sexual orifice traumas. I can't read that stuff. You hear me stutter right there. I have kids. I have daughters. And this just terrifies me. As well as vaginal bleeding from the ordeal, claiming she had been sexually assaulted by Grate in every way imaginable. During the assault, Grate was also noted to have shaved a heart shape into her pubic hair, which was removed following an examination by a sexual assault forensic examiner. Stacy Stanley, aka Stacy Hicks. Stacy's family had reported her missing the week before Grate was arrested. Her body was found at the Ashland house where Grate was arrested. She is also known as Stacy Hicks. An autopsy concluded she was strangled to death. Now let's talk about Elizabeth Griffith. Elizabeth Griffith had been missing for about a month before Grate was arrested. Her body was found at the yellow Ashland house where Grate was arrested. An autopsy concluded she was strangled to death. Candace Cunningham. Grate led police to what he claimed was Cunningham's body in neighboring Richland County. On the day of his arrest, police found the body behind a house that had previously burned down. The Richland County Sheriff's Office officially confirmed that the body found was Cunningham's on November 1st, 2016. Rebecca Lisi. Based on information supplied by Grate, police have reopened the investigation into Lisi's death. Her body was found in March 2015, and her death was originally ruled a drug overdose. Grate says he strangled her after she stole $4 from him in his place of work. Wow, $4. This guy killed this woman for $4. Dana Lowry. Grate claims to have killed another woman who was found dead in Marion County in 2006 and remained unidentified for 13 years. Grate has stated he believes her name was Dana. In January 2018, isotope analysis indicated she was likely from. The victim was identified in June 2019 by the DNA Doe Project as Dana Nicole Lowry, 23, of Minden, Louisiana. Lowry had 2 daughters, aged 1 and 5 at the time of her death, and was separated from her daughter's father. So that is everything I found on this case. His method of killing was obviously strangulation. He was a rapist. He's just a horrible, horrible person. And this death sentence needs to play out. Oh, yeah. 2025, no more appeals. Do the right thing and let's just put this guy to death for what he done, because these women are dead. Their families are hurting. Again, I feel I am so sorry for the families of these victims. And I just don't know how a human being can do that to another human being. I just don't know. I don't think I'll ever know. But that's it for tonight's podcast episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys are enjoying the true crime podcast. I'm enjoying doing it. Again, most of my stuff is paranormal related, but this true crime just really struck my interest, and I'm so glad I started doing it. So thank you guys also very much for checking out the episode. I love each and every single one of you to death. And hear that? I said to death. True crime. Haha. Very punny, right? So thank you guys also very much. I know that I said I was going to play the 911 call. After doing some thinking, I have decided not to play it, just in case a family member or a friend is actually listening to this. And I would hate for if somebody's a kid and they don't know, and then they hear it, and then that happens. So I have decided against playing the 911 call. But you can find it on the internet. YouTube or just an internet search, you'll find the 911 call. So again, thank you guys also very much for being here. Like I said, I love you guys. And thank you so much. And I hope you guys have a great night. And you will hear from me on the next True Crime Podcast. Bye, everyone.